Some people are born to be more than ordinary. They are like fish that need a bigger river. Edward Bloom was that kind of man. His life was not written in dates and places. It was written in adventures and tales. He met a giant. He went to a town where people did not wear shoes. He found a werewolf in a circus. He told these stories again and again. He told them until his son Will could not stand it anymore. Will grew up with these stories. He was small. He thought his father was the coolest man in the world. But as he grew older, he started to doubt. He studied journalism in school. He learned to look for facts. He asked his father, "Which parts of your stories are true?" His father only smiled and said, "All of them." Will did not believe him. He thought his father lived in a dream. He thought his father never faced the real world. The distance between father and son grew bigger every year. The story starts at Will's wedding party. It is a happy day for Will and his new wife. But Edward, his father, starts to tell a story. He tells the story of Will's birth. Edward says he caught a giant fish. It was on the day Will was born. He uses his wedding ring to catch it. It was a very big and smart fish. Everyone at the party listens and laughs. They enjoy the story, but Will does not enjoy it. He has heard this story many times. He has heard it since he was a child. He is tired of it. He feels angry inside. He tells his father something. He says his father is like a character from a fairy tale. He says his father is not a real person. He says his father is fake. This is a strong and hurtful word. Will does not want to hear any more stories. He wants the real truth about his father's life. This fight is very bad for their relationship. Will stops talking to his father after that day. 3 years pass without a single word between them. Will lives his own life. He has a job. He has a wife. He is happy in his own way. But then Will gets a phone call. His mother calls him. She tells him that his father is very sick. Edward has cancer. The doctors say he does not have much time left. He is going to die soon. Will feels many emotions. He is still angry, but he also feels sad. He decides to go back home to see his father. He takes his wife with him. Her name is Josephine. She is from France. She is also pregnant with their first baby. This is a big moment for their family. Will goes home for a special reason. He wants to find the truth about his father. He wants to know something. He wants to know who his father really is as a person. He does not want to hear any more magical stories. But his father is still telling stories even in his sickness. Edward is weak and stays in bed. But he still tells his magical tales to anyone who visits. Will must make a choice. Will he get angry again? Or will he try to understand his father? He must do it before it is too late. His father's time is running out very fast. This is Will's last chance to know his dad. Edward Bloom grew up in a small town. The town is in the state of Alabama. The town is called Ashton. Edward was a special boy from the start. He was always the best at everything he did. One day when he was young, he met a witch. She was an old woman with a strange eye. One of her eyes was made of glass. You looked into her glass eye. You could see your own future. Edward looked into the eye. He saw how he was going to die. But he was not afraid of this. He saw the moment of his death clearly. This gave him great courage in his life. He knew he would not die until that exact moment came. So he was not afraid of anything else. He could take risks. He could be brave. He could do things. Other people were too scared to do those things. Edward was a big fish in a small pond. This meant he was very important in his small town. He was a great athlete in school. He was a hero to the other kids. But he wanted more out of life. He was not happy staying in Ashton forever. He wanted to see the whole world. He wanted to have real adventures. He wanted to meet strange and interesting people. So one day, he made a big decision. He left his family. He left his hometown. He packed a bag and walked away. He wanted to become a big fish in a big pond. His journey was the beginning of all his great stories. When Edward left home, he met a giant on the road. The giant's name was Carl. Carl was very tall. He was bigger than any man Edward had ever seen. The people in the nearby towns were afraid of Carl. They thought he was a dangerous monster. They threw things at him. They wanted him to leave. But Edward was not afraid. He walked up to Carl. He talked to Carl like a normal person. He saw that Carl was a kind and gentle person inside. He was just lonely. Edward and Carl became good friends. They decided to travel together. The giant and the young man made a strange pair. They walked down the road together. They came to a place where the road split in two. It was a fork in the road. Edward and Carl decided to go in different directions. Edward walked down one path by himself. He found a strange and beautiful town. The name of this town was Spectre. The people in Spectre were very happy and friendly. They walked around without shoes on their feet. They said something very strange to Edward. They said they were waiting for him. They knew his name. He was already famous there. He had never visited before. Edward was surprised by this. He met a young girl there. Her name was Jenny. She was the mayor's daughter. She liked Edward. But Edward did not want to stay in Spectre. He felt he had more adventures to find. He left Spectre. He promised to come back one day. He made a promise to Jenny. Edward met up with Carl again after leaving Spectre. Together, they went to a circus. The circus was owned by a man named Amos Calloway. Amos was a big and loud man. He was the ringmaster of the show. At the circus, Edward saw a beautiful young woman. It was love at first sight for him. He fell in love with her immediately. He felt his heart stop. He knew he had to find her. He had to know her name. But she disappeared into the crowd. Edward could not find her anywhere. He got a job at the circus. He did this so he could find this girl again. He worked very hard. He did all kinds of jobs. He cleaned up after the animals. He set up the tents. He worked for 3 whole years at the circus. He did not give up. Amos, the ringmaster, said he would help Edward. He said he would tell Edward one thing. He would tell him about the girl each month. One month, he told Edward something. He said her hair was long and beautiful like a river. One month, he said her skin was soft and white like milk. One month, he said she loved daffodil flowers. This went on for 3 years. Edward was patient. He waited and waited. Then one night, Edward found out a big secret. Amos was not a normal man. He was a werewolf. Every full moon, he changed into a wolf. It was a scary thing to see, but Edward was not afraid. He helped Amos when he was in his wolf form. He was kind to him. Amos was very thankful for this. He decided to help Edward. He told Edward the girl's name. Her name was Sandra Templeton. She was a student at a university in the city. Edward was so happy to finally know her name. Edward went to the university to find Sandra. He found her sitting outside. She was even more beautiful than he remembered. He tried to talk to her. He tried to show her his love. He did many big and romantic things to win her heart. He planted a huge field of daffodil flowers outside her window. He wrote her name on a plane flying in the sky. He did everything he could think of. But Sandra said no to him at first. She told him she was already engaged. She was going to marry a man named Don Price. Don was also from Ashton, the same town as Edward. Don was not a kind person. He was mean and selfish. Don found out about Edward. He was very angry. He wanted to fight Edward. They had a big physical fight. Don was stronger. He beat Edward in the fight. He thought he had won. But Sandra saw everything. She saw that Don was not a good man. He was cruel and violent. She decided to leave Don. She chose Edward instead. She saw that Edward was kind and brave. She agreed to marry Edward. Edward was the happiest man in the world. He finally got the girl of his dreams. Their love story was his favorite story to tell to everyone. The next part of Edward's life was the war. He was sent to fight in a country called Korea. It was a very dangerous place. Many people died there. Edward's story of the war is like a fairy tale. His plane flew over Korea. The pilot said they were in great danger. Edward had to jump out of the plane with a parachute. He landed in the middle of a strange place. It was a show for enemy soldiers. There were dancers and performers. Edward was very brave. He was not scared, even though he was in danger. He needed to escape from the enemy. He met two women there. They were twins. They performed together in the show. They sang and danced. Edward talked to them. He promised to make them famous. He promised to take them to America. He said they would be stars. So the twins agreed to help him escape. They ran away together through the jungle. They finally made it back to America. Edward kept his promise to them. The twins became famous performers in America. People loved to watch them. After the war ended, Edward became a traveling salesman. He sold things to people in different towns. He traveled all over the country by car. He met many different kinds of people on his trips. He saw so many places. He went back to Spectre. It was the strange town he had found earlier. He saw that the town was in big trouble. It was going to be destroyed. A company wanted to tear it down. Edward saw his friend Jenny again. She was a grown woman now. She was the mayor. She still had feelings for him. She still loved him. But Edward loved Sandra. He was faithful to his wife. He never cheated on her. He helped the town of Spectre. He used his money to buy the town. He saved it from destruction. He also asked his friends to come. They came from the circus to help rebuild it. The town became beautiful again. In the present time, Will sits by his father's bed. His father is in the hospital. His father is very weak now. He cannot tell his stories anymore because he is too tired. Will feels very sad inside. He talks to his wife, Josephine. He tells her that he is confused about his father. He still does not know what is true and what is not. He decides to go on a journey of his own. He goes to Spectre. He wants to find Jenny. He wants to ask her about his father. He wants the real answers. Will finds Jenny. She is an old woman now, but she still lives in Spectre. He asks her many questions. She tells him the truth about his father. She tells him that Edward was a truly good man. He saved the town. She tells Will that she loved his father very much. She wanted to marry him. But Edward said no. He stayed true to Sandra. He loved his wife deeply and faithfully. This was the real truth. Will was very surprised by this. He realized his father was not a real liar. He just expressed himself through magical stories. His heart was kind and sincere. He just told stories to make life more interesting. Edward wakes up in the hospital one day. He cannot speak very well now. He asks Will to tell him a story. He wants to know how his own life ends. Will is not a storyteller like his father. He never learned to make up tales, but he tries his best. He tells his father a beautiful and peaceful story. It is a story about escaping from the hospital together. They run away from the doctors and nurses. They go to a river nearby. All of Edward's friends are there. The giant is there. The twins are there. The circus owner is there. They are all there to say goodbye. Will carries his weak father into the water. Edward turns into a giant fish. He swims away into the deep water. It is a beautiful and peaceful ending for his life. Edward dies after hearing this story. He is very happy. He knows his son finally understands him. Will is not angry anymore. He is very sad, but he is also at peace. He lets go of all his anger. He forgives his father completely. At the funeral, Will is with his family. Many people come to the funeral. They are the people from Edward's stories. They are all there in real life. The giant Carl is there. He is very tall, but not as tall as Edward said. The twins are there. They are just two normal sisters. The circus owner is there. He is not a werewolf. He is just a normal man. They are real people. Edward just made them more magical in his stories. Will finally understands his father. His father's stories were not lies. They were just a special way of looking at the world. He was a person. He made everyday life more interesting and magical. He turned ordinary things into fairy tales. Years pass. Will has a son now. He tells his own son a story. He tells his son about his grandfather. He passes on the stories to the next generation. The stories keep his memory alive forever.